Okay, so what's in front of you is your final assessment on vector addition. Okay, so it starts out, some of them are pretty straightforward, like collinear vectors, and then it gets into some where both are angled. Some only ask you to calculate the x and y components. Okay, so there's a little bit of everything in here. As you're working through it, okay, know that the numbers that are in brackets at the end of a question tell you the point value. Okay, so what that question is worth. So if something is out of 3 marks, okay, there's probably not that much work, because one of those marks is the givens, and one of those marks is the final answer. So there's only 1 mark worth of work, okay, in a question that's worth 3 marks. If a question's out of 6, well, then there's probably a lot more to do. Okay, everyone kind of follow me there? So if you've done a 6-mark question and you have like 2 steps, you might not have done it right. Okay, you might want to just have a quick look over it. The point value can give you an idea of how much work is involved. All right, so a few tips and hints here for your first one. Okay, don't overthink number 1. You have 2 vectors that are pointing the same direction. In other words, collinear vectors. All right, don't overthink it. There is a significant digit trick to question number 1. Okay, it's something we briefly talked about when we talked about significant digits. Okay, but when we have collinear vectors, okay, are we going to do anything with that number? Okay, I want you to think about that. About as much as I can give you without giving it away. Okay, but if you're not going to do anything with that number, it may or may not have any effect, okay, on the rest of it. All right, question number 2 throws people a little bit because of the context of the question. Okay, what happens with number 2 is people actually do a good thing, which is they picture the situation. Okay, and that is 2 ropes are attached to a box. Okay, but here's what I want you to think about. Here's the box, and one is pulling north, and the other is pulling west, and one is pulling south. Okay, think about what direction this thing is going to move. Okay, follow the rules for adding vectors. Okay, we always draw vectors in a certain way. Okay, and so we need to make sure we understand that we have to do it that way. Okay, so make sure you draw it right, I guess is my point here. Right? Don't draw it like this. That's what it would look like if you were watching it happen, but its movement doesn't actually get calculated using this. Okay, draw them. How do we draw vectors? Tail to head. Think about that. Okay, that's tail to tail. That's why we don't want to do it that way. Okay, for number 3, all you're doing is, actually this one is very much like the one you would get on the unit exam. So you got one that's due east and one that's south of east. Okay, tail to head, do your trig, get the answer. Okay, we've done lots of ones like that. For question number 4, we are looking for the magnitude of the x and y components. So all you're doing here is looking for x and y for the vector they give you. Now, the trick with this one is the vector. That's the vector they give you. Okay, it's 28 degrees above the negative side of the x-axis. So your answer should give me a vector that refers to that. Okay, like you're looking for the x component and the y component. I should not get compass directions for this question, because you are not being given compass directions in this question. Does everyone follow me there? Okay, number 5, similar thing. It's only asking you to calculate the x and y components, but this time it does give you compass directions, and so it would be okay to give me compass directions for that. Okay. All right. For number 6, okay, it's another one. It's just a straightforward vector addition question. It is just the 2 vectors, so draw it, find x's and y's, get her done. Okay, so is number 7, but it involves 3 vectors. Okay, it's actually kind of like the first question we did with the camper who had to go to the lake. Okay, so again, draw your diagram, get your x's and y's, and you'll get the answer for that. And same with number 8. Okay, this one has 2 angled vectors, so it takes another jump there. Okay, 9 and 10 are boat questions. All right, so think about those. Okay, draw the diagram. Okay, and they shouldn't give you too much trouble. I don't know why I put stars beside those. Maybe just to remind me they were boat questions. Okay, just for 10A, be mindful of this. In what direction relative to the shore? So that means they want the angle measured from the shore you start on, not from the center. Okay, so that's your look. They're giving you a specific reference direction there. Okay, so like I said, make sure you show your work. Okay, steps are worth marks. Remember your significant digits, and please remember to put vectors on your answers. Since it's the vector assignment, they're kind of important. All right, if you got questions while you're working, let me know. You got the rest of the class to work on it. And guys, due date for this will be March 9th, so that's next Thursday. Okay, we got lots of time.